6 o'clock on BBC Essex. Ben and Sonia with you until 9. It's Tuesday the 8th of May. Jodie Halford has our top story this morning.
The leader of a Colchester mosque which was mailed a package of white powder tells us people in Essex should be educated about the Muslim religion.
When we received the letter, myself and the Muslim community at large were all pretty shocked to receive such a letter. The reason we were shocked is because we've always had such close connections with the people of Colchester.
Essex Muslims speak of their shock after hate mail is sent to them. We'll talk live to the Colchester man who opened the package.
First, let's get the news on BBC Essex. Halford.
Muslims in Essex are being urged to do more to help people understand them and their religion. The comments come from the Imam at Colchester Mosque after they received an abusive letter filled with white powder, which turned out to be harmless. Police have urged people to remain vigilant following similar incidents elsewhere, which counter-terrorism police are investigating. Habib Ahmed, the Imam at Colchester Mosque, says education is key.
What we have to try and do is try and give him the opportunities to interact with Muslims to the extent where he has Muslim friends. And if that had been the case before, I think it would have been impossible for him to have written the letter at all. I think it was the dehumanization of Islam. So I think it's upon us as a mosque and the wider community to engage more, and we try and promote Islam and try and, as individual Muslims, we engage more with the wider community, with our neighbours and with our friends at work as well.
Meanwhile, another mosque is thought to have received a similar letter in Southend. Essex police say they're investigating after an envelope was delivered last Thursday. The force says it's being treated as a hate crime and investigations are continuing.
Let's talk about our story this morning, shall we? A mosque in Colchester is on high alert after receiving hate mail, which included a white powder. Similar letters were sent to mosques in Kent and Lancashire.
Now, the white powder turned out to be harmless, but a letter contained chilling warnings. Essex police have also told us they're investigating after another hate crime letter was sent to an address in Southend. In a little while, we're going to talk to Bashir Goni, chairman of Colchester Mosque. First, we're joined by Sidra Naeem in the studio this morning. Sidra is a leading member of Chelmsford Mosque. Sidra, good morning to you. Tell us your reaction to these incidents in different parts of the country.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on the programme. I think that this is an increasing issue, actually. I mean, there was a Punish a Muslim Day earlier on 3rd of April, and things have been sort of accelerating from there, really. It's becoming more and more often. I mean, my dad's local mosque in Forest Gate received a similar letter with powder in it, and that was over a year ago. So I think slowly things have been building up, and since Brexit, Donald Trump, and also the increasing Islamophobia out there in the media, these incidents are becoming more frequent.
What can we do about that? What can we do about it?
I think the Muslim community are working on so many initiatives to dispel some of the myths and the Islamophobia that is out there and stigma in the media. For example, there was a National Mosque Open Day in February where thousands of mosques around the country opened up their doors to non-Muslims and welcomed them in and told them all about, what a wonderful religion Islam is. I know that Ramadan's coming up, the fasting season, and I know there's another very big initiative called the Big Date, where everybody's welcome on one of the days to come in and have dinner with Muslims. So I think a lot is happening out there. I think that there will always be one or two people, though, who will hate Islam,
Why?
Why? Because of they don't know real Muslims on which they can base their ideas. And it happens more in areas where there are fewer Muslims. So, for example, in London, if somebody hears something bad about Muslims on the news, they know real Muslims they can base their ideas upon, like their next door neighbours may be Muslim. But in areas, for example, like Essex, where, there are fewer Muslims, they haven't got real Muslims they can talk to base a better opinion on, and they just take on board whatever they hear in the media. That's what the problem is.
You say there's been sort of open days and the Muslim community trying to educate people more about the religion? Do people, non-Muslims, are they sort of taking up those offers? Are they finding out more, would you say?
Definitely the events that I have organised, which the radio knows about, cricket matches, we feed the homeless every Ramadan, those kinds of events definitely have been very, very well attended. But I think it's people who want to mix and who want to learn are the ones who will come. But you won't, for example, get UKIP leaders coming in, and they are the ones really, I feel, who may be causing these problems.
I was just going to say, because there's always going to be people who don't want to integrate and carry on as they are and make cast aspersions that can cause damage.
Exactly. So I think that's where the problem is. The people who come to these events, where we're mixing and mingling and wanting to know about Islam are the ones who want to.
So how can you reach these people that don't want to be reached, that aren't actively going to come to a mosque?
Well, you can't make them come. They do get invitations, though, to come to the events. Like I said, the mosque open days are national, so they can come if they want to. But you can't make somebody come, and you can't make them change their views. But I personally feel the Muslim community are doing a lot more than what was happening 10, 20 years ago.
In terms of letters being sent with white powder, you said your father had a similar instance in his mosque. I mean, are the Muslim community quite worried about this? Because I know sort of some of the wording in the letters was particularly frightening as well.
Yes, definitely. It increases anxiety and you're scared. I know that on Punish a Muslim Day, nobody that I know who was Muslim who went out that day, we were too scared. Because what if something does happen? I know it's a threat, but you just don't know. Something could happen, couldn't it? So it does worry the whole community, and it's not just the leaders and the imams of the mosque, it's the whole congregation. And mosques, as you know, are packed out. We pray 5 times a day, so it's a worry every time we go in.
Sidra, we've had an email, I won't say who it's from. It says, this is a Christian country. Please tell me why I should have any interest in any other religion. Naive, possibly, but it's not something I feel I need to know anything about. What would you...
Well, at the end of the day, it is a multicultural country. And even in Muslim countries, there are Christians and there's Jews. And I think that we need to get with it, really, because at the end of the day, the whole world is multicultural no matter where you go. Nothing is all completely Christian. Nothing's all completely Jewish. Even this country, what people tend to forget, it was not Christian right at the beginning. Christianity started in the, Israeli region. So Christianity came here actually in 400 AD through the Christian Romans, and this country was actually pagan before. So we tend to forget, the origins of the country, okay, at the moment, yes, it's a Christian country, but there is a lot that other religions have contributed to the Britishness of the country. And where do people like myself go, who are actually born and brought up here, very strongly feel we are British? We can't change our religion. So the best way really is to live in harmony and peace with everybody else.
What about getting into schools and trying to talk to people at a younger age about different religions, different cultures? Do you think that needs to be improved a little bit?
That is already happening. I actually visit 120 schools a year. I was in the newspaper about that a couple of months ago. 120 schools a year. Islam is on the curriculum. It was actually me who instigated that. All the younger children, they are learning about all 7 religions, including a non-religion, humanism as well. And all the schools are being taught, all the religions. And I think the schools are very, very active, actually, in involving Muslims. They do tend to call in visitors to come and talk about the religion. I think that where the problem is usually at home. The children usually base their ideas on whatever the parents tell them. And racism or Islamophobia or faith hate crime, as I call it, usually starts at home or is based on what they may come across in the future, what kinds of friends they may come across. But at the younger age, I feel children are innocent and they take on board everything like a sponge.
Sidra, we will leave it there. Thank you. She's a leading member of Chelmsford Mosque, and we'll chat to the Imam of Colchester, the chairman of Colchester Mosque.
They're talking about a mosque on high alert after receiving hate mail, which included a white powder. Similar letters sent to mosques in Kent and Lancashire as well. And we can talk to the chairman of Colchester Mosque now, Bashir Goni. Morning to you, Bashir.
Hi, good morning, Sonia.
Thanks for talking to us this morning. Tell us about this package then. Talk us through what happened when you opened it.
Right, yeah. So a couple of days ago, I received a letter came through the mosque door. I picked it up from the doormat. I opened it, and lo and behold, it was of a hateful nature. And it began by saying it saw the attention of the filthy, subhuman Muslim vermin opening the letter. I could only relate to the Muslim of those many words. The nature of it was very helpful. I wouldn't want to mention some of the wordings in that letter, but clearly the individual that had written the letter had views about Muslims that were not favourable, and I think we are not the only ones that received the letter, and it did appear to be a copy of a letter that may have been sent to other mosques. And I think it's just really stirring up that hate, and I think it can be very, very, very poisonous.
And there was white powder in it, was there? There was white powder in it?
That's right, yes. I didn't realise the white powder until I got halfway through reading the letter. And I must be honest, it did frighten me a bit when I'd realised that there was white paper that had fallen onto my lap.
What did you think it was?
Well, I was a bit suspicious, and I thought it's coming with a letter that is of that nature. I thought it's only important that I do report this, and straight immediately after the prayers, I did so. And with all these nerve agents and other kind of suspicious substances that are sent in other places, I thought it's only right to rule these the bad effects of it, to totally rule it out. And we had a good response from the police immediately, who did come over and tested the substance and had ruled out the harmful nature of it, which did then put me at ease. But I think it's a growing problem. I think it needs to be looked at, and I think authorities have to get together and work with people like ourselves to see what we could do to tackle these kind of problems.
What do you think you can do, Bashir? Because I know we were talking to Sidra a moment ago, and she said a lot of Muslim leaders in Essex are out there trying to educate people, trying to break down some of the myths. You're already doing stuff, aren't you?
Sure, yeah. It's not for the lack of trying. I think it needs to be done more on a central government level. Following the EU Brexit, and it's not to blame the people who voted to leave, but it has been a bit challenging following that decision. And I think there was a spike of about 40% in hate crimes. And I think that the central government have a responsibility there to try and get the awareness out there. And I think on our level, I think we just have to continue to really get the message of love and peace about Islam. Only last year we had held an exhibition of Islamic awareness in Colchester at first night. It was well attended, but I think more and more of that needs to be done across the country. I think the more people understand about Islam, the more the phobia is taken away. We do fear what we don't understand, and I think it's really about understanding, meeting ordinary Muslims who really want to just get on with their daily life. They have the same interests as any other person that's not Muslims. So I think it's just continue keeping at it. But I think more needs to be done on a sort of central level, perhaps.
Thank you, Bashir. That's Bashir Goni, chairman of Colchester Mosque, and talking to us about receiving that letter and quite hateful content, he says, inside it, and then realising that not only did it have this letter, but also white powder. So understandably, a very frightening time. It was ruled out as being anything harmful. But interestingly there, Bashir is saying we fear what we don't understand.
Shocking for him, wasn't it? But for people working at other mosques targeted as well, in February this year, we reported that there were 189 incidents of hate crime reported to Essex Police in a 12-month period. The imam we heard in the news bulletin talks a lot about educating people in Essex about the Muslim faith and what mosques do. Do you agree? Do we need to be educated more in the Muslim faith?
Yeah, 0800 111 4041 is our free phone number. Sidra saying a lot of work is being done here in Essex to educate, but the bottom line is if you're willing to be educated, you'll be educated. But those people who don't necessarily want to or aren't interested in it for whatever reason aren't necessarily going to come along to these open days and exhibitions. And Bashi is saying, they are doing quite a lot of stuff at a local level, but certainly feels perhaps more should be done at a national level. What do you think about this? You can text us your thoughts, 81333. You will need to put Essex at the start of your message.
The Colchester Imam says one of the reasons they're so shocked is they have a great relationship with people in the town and have loads of support, but he thinks spreading the message about faith and values to everyone is crucial. We're interested in your views. It is 8:24.
Call 0800 111 40 41. Text Essex to 81333. Tweet at BBC Essex. This is BBC Essex.